Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. All righty. So, one more video tonight. Of course, I've got some other stuff I'm going to be working on, but for video's sake anyways, we got this all set up and ready to rock and roll. So I wanted to kind of go through this, go through everything, and show everybody what we got here as far as on the tune. Okay, let's start with just radio. Bear with me here. I'm playing around trying to get everything set and all that good snazzy stuff. It's too big a slug. There we go. Guess I'm gonna have to get me some more duplicates or something here on the slugs. Anyhow, hello Charles, Tracy. All righty. So as you guys have probably noticed here lately, Mr. 476, the mud duck out of Mississippi, has been putting his name on the page several times because he can't make up his mind what he wants. That's good for me. Anyhow, so I get everything together and want to try to show you as far as on the tune and everything. Before we start, let me go ahead and I'll take just a second. I'm actually going to open this up where you guys can kind of see. It's a little more aggravation because I got to put all the screws right back in it again. But, no big deal. All right. Still got a little dust on it. Just need to take something out, kind of wipe some of the dust and dirt off of it there from where it's collected dirt sitting in here, oddly enough. All right. So, we're going to basically kind of go around the band here a little bit, show you guys, what we got going on. You guys have already seen one amplifier essentially in the series. This is the second one, but I kind of want to go through and show you guys a little bit about it. As far as part of what makes it different. Now, different doesn't always mean the absolute most wattage. This one is actually built for that super rich, clean sound is what this is actually built around. So now the other side of that too, bear in mind, this is also built where you can actually drive it pretty good too. So let me unhook this and shut the radio off, because we're going to kind of start here with the amplifier and work our way through everything. So get this stuff here out of the way. I wasn't sure which way we were going to go on it, so we're going to start basically at the beginning. We're going to go through the amplifier. We're going to go through the radio, kind of show you the two, and then show you what the two do, together as a whole as well. So, it's one of the things that, I wanted to, like I said, just kind of go through and show you guys. So, all right. Dum, 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 dum. All right, let me shut that off for the moment. Camera up. Some of these cables out of my way. You know, I don't care how big a bench you keep building. It is never big enough. Never, ever, ever big enough. You know, I could have 15 tables and they'd still all be, packed jam full of different things. So, alrighty. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to hook up our small little dummy load that I use for pass-through. We're going to look at the pass-through tune. We're going to look at the overall attributes of the amplifier and what makes this one, essentially different. That's kind of the big thing about it is, what makes it different, than just every other amplifier. All right, so get that cable out of there. Get my fingers in there. There we go. I have threatened to take this thing apart if it wasn't so flippin' expensive. And I know that is actually supposed to be the, best there is as far as on the type of connector, using the type in. For what we use it for, it's kind of a pain because you got to go back and forth in between, different adapters, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. $20,000. Yeah, good luck with that, Charles. Well, hello, 3. Yeah, you can. You can drive this with an 8-pill if you want. The only thing of it is, it probably ain't going to last long. I've seen people take and drive a 2-pill into a 2-pill. As oddly enough as that sounds, but hey, whatever floats your boat. So anyhow, but no, part of what makes this one different has to do with the fact that it's biased, which is unusual for sideband, or for AM. It's typically thought of and at the purpose of using it for sideband. However, you can run it on AM. This box is set up specifically for AM. We don't have a delay in there for the sideband portion of it. He's not intending on ever using this for the sideband. So that's one of the it's one of the things that's going to be a little different about it. Let's see here. Mode. Okay. Let's see if I can get this thing set where I want it here. Okay, span. Okay, 50 hertz. Do that. 725. I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I've used that function on this. Format. There we go. SWR. All right. So let's see here. All right. So sorry, I got a popcorn hull stuck. So essentially, what it amounts to is we've got we've got a principal signal that's going through here to show as far as the SWR based on where it's at in on the frequency. We've got our center frequency, which is 27205, that we're using for our center point, and we've got this roughly on a 25 megahertz bandwidth. So the whole screen is representation of 25 megahertz, which is more than enough. We're not even going to even come close to that in retrospect to what it is. Now you got to remember, we're also looking at linearity technically for just 40 channels. In most cases, actually maybe 1 megahertz bandwidth, as far as on the overall, if we want to get down, that far. So let me run this down here as far as a little arrow. All right, so it's kind of nice about this is, you can run this up and down and get it right down on the actual frequency itself. For exactly on our frequency that we've got, as far as for our center point, we can actually go up here to the top of the graph where we've actually got it pinned with the number 2. All right, 27250 is showing a 1.098 to 99. So it's just barely below a 1.1. Which sometimes, I could actually go in there and take, for example, and I have done this depending on how many hours you want to actually play with it. This is a little 1 puff capacitor. Hit run. Okay. Oh, that hit stop. And we hit run again. Center, 27205. So, okay, so, little things like putting your fingers on that, touching ground or anything else, you can actually see that fluctuate a little bit. And that's where I was actually going at. This is something as simple as a 1 puff capacitor. So if we go across here, which we can go ahead and tweak it just a hair more. That takes it from 1.09 down to 1.07. The capacitors are kind of relative. Whenever you pull them out, you could actually thumb through and pick. Out of a 10 picofarad capacitor, it can range anywhere from 8 to 12. And in various random lengths and points. So, let's go up one more. I'll see if I can't get it just a hair better. Like I said, it's pretty good the way it is. Lay that down so 3 can see it. So I'm kind of halfway clean the legs here. All right, so that was 1 puff. This one is 3 puff. That takes it down to, get it to stay, 1.06, which we've still got good linearity across there. Most of the time, if I hit 1.0 or 1.1 even, most of the time I will stop at that point. Let's go ahead and go one more. I know I've tried a couple different ones, and once you get to a certain level, it'll actually have an adverse effect when dealing with your pass-through. So we're going to go up 2 extra puff, and there again, it'll even get a little bit better. Instead of 1.06 or 7, now we're at 1.06. Now, if we actually go ahead and trim these legs down and get that in there, chances are good that it'll come down even more. But we're already at 1.0, even if that was at 1.09, which essentially you'd round up. Same thing here, you'd still round up because it's 0.6 versus a 0, 4, just for an example. So, but I know just wiggling it back and forth, it's getting a little bit better. I really ran out of room. That's the main reason why it's tied over here instead of directly to a board ground. I could have, the only thing of it is I went for the shortest distance to ground is what I was after. So that's the reason why we've got it here. Now, I could have brought it back and then down, to the case behind the relay. Again, trying to keep that just as absolute short as possible. So, let's see. That was it 1.6 roughly? Yeah, 1.6 versus the 1.9. And even out of here, just randomly grabbing another one. 1.61. There again, a half a puff, can even make such an incremental amount. We're still at 1.61. So, we're not going to really get much better than that. Like I said, we're down to the point where we're literally splitting hairs. That one's 1.59 to 1.60. So just, fractional better, probably by default of a half puff. So we'll go ahead. I'll shut this off for the moment. Set it back. I can get this over here just a little closer to me. Essentially, what I want to do is keep these leads as short as I can. Okay, I got a message that says, never mind. All right. No, I'll reply to that one a little later. Good evening, Bluegrass. Unhook your coax. I can do that if you want to see what it's going to do when I unhook the coax. Right, let's set this back down here. We'll turn it on, and then I will unhook the coax. Dun-dun-dun. Let's turn that down. Hopefully I won't have that coming in there several times. Okay. All right. So setting run. All right. That way you see that it's actually in real time. Some fingerprints here on the screen. All right. So obviously we've got like stupid high standing wave because it's, you know, out of this world. It won't even register it's so high. You know, so okay. Coax. Put that down in there. All right. So I don't know if that's what you wanted to see early or not, but that way it gives you, gives you a reference that you see that's actually going up and down, but we're still only showing, 1.06, as far as on the, principal across there. So what's kind of neat, let's see here. Let's go back here. I can actually move the scale up. For example, there we're at 28 megahertz. We're still at 1.07. A little bit down on that where you can see the numbers hopefully a little bit better. You can kind of see. So what I'm doing is, we're using our number 2 as far as our little caret. And then that's all I'm doing is I'm going across the sweep, until it actually crosses all the way over here. At that point, you're at 1.2, so, there's 28, 29 megahertz, and we're still at 1.08. Like I said, you're not going to be transmitting in that particular range for this item. Let's see here. Let's go down, and there's at 25. Let's just round it all the way down to 25. 1.04. Of course, if you go down here to the 12 meter band, which is approximately 24 megahertz, 1.03. It does get better all the way down further. The further you go, but it's in fractions. So let's bring that all the way over there. Let's see here, span. Let's go here. We're going to go 50 megahertz. So you're going to see, the scale actually come up. But now we're checking a total of 50 megahertz bandwidth from 2.4 all the way up to 49, 49.3 to be specific as far as where our stopping point is. But if we go back down here and we hit on, the frequency that it's currently set for, you're showing 1.6, 1.06. So that was one of the things that I wanted to actually, Yep. I see that early. Yep. That's probably something that I should have done. Sometimes you don't always think of everything on the fly, but enough on that. I mean, all we're doing is just looking at exactly what we've got, which is just basic pass through. So, all right. So let's turn this off for the moment. We are going to unhook that. I got to figure out, there it is, where I laid down the other connector. As handy as it is, this is the only frustrating part is when you just got to change and go to another style of connector, which, granted, even if, this still had an SO239 on it, I'd still have to put an adapter on it in order to go down to the BNC. But now this is something else that a lot of people aren't aware of. And I'm gonna kind of show you something. Nope, it's the backwards way. Okay. So, all right. So if we were actually hooking up to this, for test purposes, one of the unique things, and that's part of the reason why the BNC was created. The BNC actually is designed. Okay. Is supposed to, anyways, be able to connect onto that, I thought. Or am I thinking backwards yet again? I bet I'm thinking backwards. Let me grab another connector. So remembering the combination, because I so rarely ever do this. Okay. Anyways, on the BNC, that's what I was actually trying to show you guys. It's been so long since I've actually done that. But you're going to see several different meters that, because of the step in there and the way these are designed, it was actually built for, on the fly as far as on field meters, to where if you had essentially an antenna coming out the end here, and a lot of the test equipment back in the day used a lot of BNC. They still do today, but they also use the Type F or Type N connector, but it's for the higher frequencies and for the reliability. But for the quick plays, because how things were set up, it's just one of those neat little tricks. It's been so long since I've used it, I couldn't remember which one, but I knew that the BNC would fit it. I just couldn't remember which end. So, all right. So let's get that on there. Let's go ahead and hook this back up. Okay. Set that off to the side for now. All right. So we've got our pass-through checked with the meter. Granted, in most cases and in most applications, you don't even have to use something like that. We actually show that quite often with using our bird meter with a 5-watt slug, or if you've got a 1 watt or a 500 milliwatt slug, you can use that as well. And just by using an input carrier running through there, you can actually do the same, do the same thing if you don't have a $1,300 or $1,400 meter. Of course, the MFJ will do the same. We'll do the same principal signal. So will the Rig Expert. I've actually got all three. The MFJ, if anybody is interested, I do have an MFJ that I will be having for sale. I just haven't had time to list it. So, all right, I'm going to get some of the stuff here out of the way. This undone. Had this all nice and neat before I started actually going inside of it and starting to check everything. So, all right, this rerouted the way we want it. Go back, hook this back up. And all I got to do is just plug it in here in a little bit. All right, so again, we've got our 10 amp relay. Again, way overkill. The 5/8 core transformer, and essentially, again, we've got this biased, and the biasing is just to give us a little more clarity and stability as far as on the overall on the amplifier. So, that's part of what this is all about. As far as using, not just big bulky items, but kind of the pick of the litter as far as on all the pieces and parts whenever doing an amp build. So before we actually get that turned on, we're going to go over here to the radio, and we're going to show you the pass-through and show you the output of the radio, and then show you the output of the amp. Hello, Art. And no, I have not had time to get back through that and check everything. I will try to do that here on the next weekend coming up, since it's my scheduled weekend off. Because it won't take that long to go through what you need done as far as on the other piece that I've got. So, or the other piece that you're looking for, I'll put it that way. So, anyways, let's get this over here. Oops. Still so far out of room. Gee, many Christmas, guys. I'm gonna get one day this next weekend. I am going to make up jumpers, and I'm going to get everything reran where I don't have this general mess every time I want to hook up and play with an amplifier. So that's one of the things that I'm going to try to get taken care of for my own self, because it's driving me bananas. So, all right. Okie dokie. Radio on. All right. All right. So with radio on, let's start here. We're going to look at the pass through on this, and then we'll get through as far as and show you the characteristics of the dead keys and what have you. So, all right. So the format that we've got here, for those of you that have never been on the channel. Okay, I've got a 5 watt. We got our 5 watt slug in reverse going back to the radio. 5 watt slug in reverse coming back from the 5,000 watt bird dummy load. 50 watt slug in PEP and 25 in RMS. All right, so what we're going to be looking at first, we're just going to look at the pass through. Hello, audio. So it just does barely come up as far as on that. All right, let's start all the way up. All right, so we've got, let's see, 2.5, 3, about 3.5 watts all the way up. Reason why we've got that is so that he can go ahead and get the dead key down and turn the 5 watt slug around. We wanted to try to get it down where he could run just a little less than a 1/2 watt, so he's got more options based on whatever amplifier that he may be using at the time. So that's part of the reason why we did that. All right. We're going to start out with a 1 watt dead key. Look at our PEP. It's just going to be our center scale here. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. So 33, 34, we'll call it 33 on the short side. RMS, which is going to be our top scale on the right. Audio, 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 audio. So 12.5 bird. That's at a 1 watt dead key. Let's bring that up to 2 watt dead key. Audio, audio, audio. As you can see, you're going to be at different points based on your voice. Right now, I'm a little on the hoarse side. I have done a tremendous amount of talking on the phone today, besides the other video. So, you're looking at with a 2 watt carrier, 15 bird out of a single watt final. That's actually really good, as far as on the RMS. Hello, audio. We're still doing the 33 to 34 on the PEP. All right, so let's go ahead and switch these out. Grab a couple other slugs here. hopefully, Charles, that will work for your intents and purposes. All right, so now we're going to go in here. You'll see the 500 watt slug here in PEP, 1x position, 250 watt slug in forward. Again, coming back to the 5,000 watt bird dummy load. So let's hook up the cable and we'll plug the amp in. All right. So for quick tests and things like that on the small boxes, I know a lot of people use different connectors and what have you, and I just use a small set of alligator clips on an 8 gauge, for 1 pills and 2 pills, which is, granted you can lose quite a bit, especially whenever I am also using one of these type connectors. Again, for quick test, what I like about these whenever I'm doing the small stuff, and I've got the larger one that I use for larger stuff as well. But what's nice about these is if for some reason there is something that catastrophically happens whenever you're doing a repair or a build or what have you, if you can grab a hold of the plug, you can yank on it and it's coming out right then. The other end is actually bolted to the bottom of the table, so like I said, it gives me a nice place where I can actually disconnect it in an extreme hurry. Now, the other side of that too is these are plugged in, not only with that, they're also ran through, and that's another reason why we lose quite a bit on it as well. This is actually ran through this is actually ran through a 50 amp on both the positive and the negative fuse. So I've got a great big maxi fuse. Like I said, I use this for testing and to make sure that everything is copacetic prior to it leaving here. So me, as I thought that I had. There we go. I won't be bothered. So I've got multiple different safeguards for whenever I'm testing, and again, all that stuff actually does take away from the overall output of something like the 2 pill. So let's see, where's our mic gain? It's wide open. Let's back this up to about 50%. I'm going to set it at 12 o'clock. 2 watt dead key. Let's see what our carrier is. Okay. So let's go back up here and look at the meters. All right, so about a 40 watt carrier. All right, let's look at our reflect going back to the radio and the reflect going back from the 5,000 watt bird dummy load. Hello, audio. Audio. So we've got almost less than 1/10 of a watt reflect on our output going back to the antenna. On the input reflect, just right at about 2/10 of a watt. Hello, audio is where we're at on it. Now we'll concentrate on the other 2 meters. Hello, audio. Audio. So we got 300 on the PEP. Audio. And about 130 to 135 on the RMS. Now, if we were using a dual final radio, we would see much higher numbers. But, like I said, the other thing too is if we actually take this and take the biasing out of this situation and use this as a Class C, you're going to see a little bit more numbers as well. We're after, quality over quantity. Let's go over here. Yeah. Okay. function. Do. Spectrum analyzer. Center frequency is 27205 that we're going to be using for this. Let's see. Oops. Let's set that on 2.5. Let's move this one down the band to 47. All the way over is that total bandwidth of 50 megs. So let's take a look at that. Now, I don't have the scope hooked up for this particular portion of it, but the spectrum analyzer is going to show you essentially everything that you're going to need to see anyways. So let's try to get that in there a little bit. Oops. Let's hit run. You see your signal. No deviation on the bottom. Hello, hello, hello. Audio. 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 So virtually across the 50 megahertz span, you have no noise, no second or third harmonics with the amplifier in the on position. So relays kick. Hello, audio. Audio. We'll turn the amplifier off. Hello, audio. Audio, audio. So we've got a virtually clean radio and amplifier combo. So that's what we were after. Trying to get the best of both worlds on everything. So, all right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, trying to go through everything as we can think of it. Sometimes I don't remember as far as on all the different attributes that some people want to see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the little quick tune-up. Charles, like I said, we've got this done. Let me unhook this. If you'll notice, there's another 1.5-hour video where I went ahead and did a how-to video. I've had several people request and ask, and since I actually had to do one for you, I went ahead and did it on this radio. Now, one of the things, this coax undone, a little tight. All right, so you've got your jack right here for your line level out, low line level out. I'll put it that way. No, this is a 959 is what we've got here on the bench. So, yeah, I forgot that's also something that Art had asked me about as far as on a radio that I've got sitting over here that's been on the shelf for 2 years that he has been profusely after. So, but anyways, yeah, we did the low line level out for the video gates that people are wanting to do. So, Charles, your yeah, so your 959 has got the low line level out. In case you're out and about and decide, ooh, I want to run a video gate, you actually have that option. Now, one of the things that I didn't show, because it is for your base, we also went ahead and did the same thing. So you kind of got a 2-for-1 on this one. We went ahead and put a line level, low line level out, so that you can hook it either into your computer, your iPad, whatever you're recording the audio on, along with the video. So you've got you got that feature on both of your radios. So we've got the 959 done that way, and your 2950. Still one of my favorite radios of all time right here. So I've got a couple of them, one of which I've got to get back on the bench and fix myself. It's been down for over a year. So hopefully I'll be able to get to that soon and get that taken care of. We've got all the upgrades done on this one as well. I added a few other things in there too. But let me set this off to the side, since we've actually got you on the bench with all your stuff right now. I'll go ahead and hook this up. We'll do a quick report on this, and then I'm ready to basically box everything up, make some calls tomorrow, and we can try to get your stuff shipped out. I'm going to try to get it shipped out by the weekend, if at all possible. I have got an incredibly busy day with everything that's going to be going on. So I will try to do my best. There's not going to be much of anything gets shipped out until either the end of the week or first thing this next week from Monday, just because of the general madness that we're dealing with at the moment. So bear with me. I know it's been a long process for you, Charles. I really hate dragging things out as long as what we have, but like I said, we got you up and going, big dog. Get that out of the way. I'll put this back together for like a bit. I'm just going to undo the coax here. Move it directly over to your other radio, which I'm actually surprised you haven't set a peep on here. That's not like you. At least I know you started out watching the video. All right. Okay. Set this off to the side. I'll get this wiped down. I'll get the screws back into the case. This is, like I said, nice and sleek and black. I've got one minor change that's going to be to the new labels, which is I'm going to have them all cut out just the same as the Evolution series. So those are also going to be done this week as well. The test samples that I've got, we've got those in here. So again, so you can kind of see everything kind of pop together all at the same token. I also had labels made specifically for the radio and the antenna. And then we've got the Made in America sticker that's not going to be listed on here. So, like I said, just wanted to kind of go ahead and go through here and give you all the little bits and pieces, as far as on some of the new stuff that's coming up and going on. Like I said, we got a lot of changes that we're going to be doing. And it's like anything else, it's growing pains yet again. All right, so I'm going to take, because I do not want to take it out of the box, because you can never get the damn things back in there. So I'm going to take my microphone off of my 2950 that hangs above, and we're going to use that for your radio. All right, so that's already plugged in. Let's see here. Oops. Turn your radio on. I was actually playing with this and talking on it the other night, so we're still on the same channel that I was using it at. All right, so like I said, all right, so let's go ahead and get these pulled out. Set those off to the side. Grab the other ones. Okay. So a little overkill on the slugs, but not too far out of bounds. All right, so we got our 5-watt slug in reverse coming back from the dummy load, which is not really going to be an issue as far as that with the radio. We've got our 100-watt slug in our 1X position for PEP, and we've got our 50-watt slug in 1X position for RMS. Let's go ahead and set this down. Maybe we can see where we're at here, 27205. Since we've already got our KC901 analyzer set up, we're going to go ahead and run a check on it with the spectrum analyzer that's built into that. So there's our principal signal. Hello, audio. Audio. Nice and clean across that. Let's go ahead. And we'll look at those. You left a message for charger. I'm actually surprised because I did like 30 of them that one year for him. And they were selling them just as fast as I could get them done. So I'm actually surprised he's even got any of them left. I didn't figure he did. But all right, so we've got our variable power. Let's see here. Power. All right, so we'll turn our 5-watt slug around so we can see on the low end scale. Just below a 1/2 watt, that's what we was wanting. And then obviously it's going to go and it'll actually exceed the 5-watt slug. So looking at it on the 50-watt slug, center scale, way on the end. If you grab a hold of the right knob. And we've got it set for 8 watts. So between essentially a 1/2 watt to 8 watts, you should be able to find anything that's going to work with the amplifier that you've got. We're going to start out with a 5-watt dead key. We are on AM. Hello, audio. Audio, audio. So just a little over 20 watts. You look at your 100-watt scale, which is going to be our bottom scale on the 1X position. Hello, audio. So you've got a nice 50-watt PEP. So let's go ahead. I'll go down to about a 1-watt dead key. Hello, audio. Audio, audio. About 51 on the PEP. RMS. Audio, audio. About 18 bird. So, pretty good as far as on that. Now what's nice, crank that up to an 8-watt dead key. You're still going to see the same swing. Hello, audio. Audio. You're still going to see your 50-watt PEP. Audio. And about 23 bird. So, still moving forward no matter which way we go. Let's go over here to the sideband. We're going to turn this all the way down because I know that you actually wanted to use this for sideband as well. Now, the RF power will adjust your sideband as well. So, hello, 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 audio. Audio, audio. So roughly I've got it at 12.5 watts PEP on the sideband. Hello, audio. And roughly, 6, 7 on the RMS. But again, depending on what you want to run, I set it down that low for a reason. Now we start increasing it. Hello, audio. Audio, So you're looking at a top end of 15 on the RMS. Again, I turned it down a little bit because of some of the discussions that we had and what you had planned, what plans you had for this. Because sideband, it's really easy to overdrive something with. Hello, audio, audio. But I know you was wanting, really good, really good clarity, and that's what I was after was, the clarity for the sideband. So, not quite as hot, as these are capable of, but I know what pieces of equipment you've got on there as far as on the sideband. You're going to see this on the spectrum analyzer as well. So super, super clean. Let's take, let's see here, span. Let's change our span from 50. Let's just take it down to a 10 megahertz bandwidth. Enter. And that'll show a little difference as far as on the noise floor, because we're looking at a smaller segment. Hello, audio. So super clean. I know that's what you were after. Like I said, whether you're taking this, like I said, we're looking now between, essentially 22 megahertz to 31 megahertz. Doing our testing off of, the dummy load. So across the band, whether you're looking at a small segment or a huge chunk of the frequency all the way up to 6 meters, you've got some really good range. I can see why Luke has, been on me. He has needled me about getting one of these for several years. I like this. I still like this one up here that I have used for many, many years. This one is really nice because of the fact that whenever you're checking it, even though it shows 5 megahertz, it's a little different scale. Because now, for example, this one here, whenever you set this for a span of 5 megahertz, whenever you've got your principal signal centered, if you go 5 megahertz, each one of these divisions or blocks is 5 megahertz. So you're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So you're still doing an actual 50 megahertz span. The only difference is it's the format that you have to look at here. And matter of fact, I've actually got the secondary cable right now hooked up. I'll let this little gal warm up, and we'll go ahead and set the center frequency 27.205. Enter. Expand. Oops. Max limit 5 megahertz. So you're going to see our line here. It tells us basically, hey, you've hit or reached the margin in which you can talk or cover. Now what we are going to do is we're going to go to RBW, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to quiet this noise floor down. So instead of the 220 kilohertz, we're actually going to turn this down to about 30 kilohertz. Now, one of the things that's interesting, that's one of the things that, especially when you got this far, on occasions you're going to see a small little snap up. And what it is it's the fact of all the equipment that I'm running and the relationship to how close it is to the cable lengths and stuff. So anything that's actually currently running, you're actually going to pick up just a little bit sometimes in the noise floor whenever you go out to this, this kind of a bandwidth. So that's one of the kind of neat things there. Let's go back to AM because it's just easier to contend with. we're set up with a 20 dBm, which is going to give us a big, nice big full carrier on the screen instead of just a teeny tiny little blip. So hello audio. So let's go over here to our RF level. Let's see, let's go ahead and key up. Okay, we'll set it at 0 dBm. Hello. Now where I've made it super sensitive, you're starting to pick up more of the pieces that are chaotically in here. So let's go ahead and set it back to at least 10. And so you're seeing, and I think that's actually the power supply that's actually causing that. That's literally sitting above it on the shelf, because these things are like stupid sensitive. For example, you use a magnet and what's your screen? So you have to be careful, when doing stuff like that, because it will have an adverse effect on what you're doing. So, but I've got a gentleman that's interested in that. If he passes, this is going to be available. I'm actually going to sell off 3 pieces of equipment because I'm going to make one more purchase this year for updated equipment. That's and the stuff I've got's not really outdated, but I know I can get by without that for the time being because I've got my handheld. It's still going to be great for all the amenities that I need. Shut that off. So, like I said, that's one of the things that's going to be available as far as for sale. I don't know if the gentleman's going to take one or both of the oscilloscopes. Like I said, it's one of those where I'm going to have some test equipment for sale because, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and make one more upgrade this year. I've already bought two brand new pieces of equipment here for the shop. One of which is the KC901. The other one is the Rig Expert. So, like I said, I've got a lot of different things that's already covered. And, like I said, I'm going to try to go ahead and put some of the stuff up for sale, make some room, and start condensing stuff down. So, all right, guys. Like I said, I wanted to kind of go through everything with you, show you what we got. You've got a 2950 I can have. Okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I like them, even if I just get them for parts. Like I said, I've got one. I'm hoping I can get time to actually look at it. I unfortunately have not had time because just trying to take care of everybody here. Like I said, I've got to take some time off though, one day this weekend, and make up at least 6 new coaxes for the workbench. Because I'm even changing out. I'm actually even going to be changing out some radios as far as above the workbench. Those are actually going to be changed over to some different variances so that I've got other stuff to actually show as far as the action and reaction based on, the output power. So, am I done for the night? Sort of yes and sort of no. I am going to go ahead and shut down as far as on this part of it. I'm going to stay in the shop probably for another hour before I go to bed and actually get some of the stuff put away. I got to put Charles's amplifier, got to get the screws put back in that. And like I said, I'll get the radios back in the boxes and kind of go from there. But all right, guys, I appreciate it. Art, if you are wanting to talk to me or something, if you would please just wait till tomorrow, and if nothing else, I'll give you a call on my way into work. Because like I said, I have got a tremendous amount of stuff that I need to get taken care of. All right, guys, you take care. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed the videos again. All right, take care, guys.